All right. So it is now 6:30 p.m. This is the Monday, August 22nd, 2022 meeting of the Norton Conservation Commission, and as is required, we will begin with the reading of the necessary preamble related to the fact that this is a meeting by remote attendance only. So if you're willing to go ahead with that, let's do that.
Okay. Pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the Open Meeting Law, GL Chapter 30A, Section 18, and the Governor's March 15, 2020 order imposing strict limitation on the number of people that may gather in one place, this meeting of the Norton Conservation Commission will be conducted via remote participation to the greatest extent possible. Specific information and the general guidelines for remote participation by members of the public and or parties with a right and or requirement to attend this meeting can be found at the end of this agenda. Members of the public attending this public hearing/meeting virtually will be allowed to make comments if they wish to do so during the portion of the hearing designated for public comment by raising their hand virtually or pressing *9 if participating by phone. No in-person attendance of members of the public will be permitted, but every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access the proceedings in real time via technological means. In the event that we are unable to do so, despite best efforts, we will post on the Norton Cable website, www.nortonmediacenter.org, an audio or video recording, transcript, or other comprehensive record of proceedings as soon as possible after the meeting.
Okay, thank you, Dan. So participating tonight, we have our director, John Thomas, our assistant, Megan Harrop. We have 6 of our 7 members who were able to attend tonight. I'm Julian Kadish, the chair. Our vice chair, Lisa Carrozza, was unable to attend. We also have Dan Pearson, Tom Avest, Mark Fernandez, Ron O'Reilly, and Carrie Schneider. So we have a long agenda of 5 new public hearings, and I think 4 public hearings that have been continued. Some of them have requested extensions, but continuations. But we will begin tonight with a public hearing for file number 250-1110. It's a notice of intent for 469 and 475 South Worcester Street concerning a single-family home and accessory structure, Title V system, driveway, site grading, domestic well, and associated clearing, all partially within 100 foot of boarding vegetated wetlands. Do we have a representative of the applicant?
Yes. Good evening. My name is Mark Mariano with Oakville Engineering. Tonight I'm representing Kelly Goff, the applicant, and the owners M. Perry and Barry Close for an NOI at 469 South Worcester Street and 475 South Worcester Street. I'll get the plans up. I think I just had them shared.
Before we start, Mark, actually one of our members, I believe, needs to. Mark, do you need to recuse yourself from this one?
I was just planning to abstain from voting.
All right, so you have to recuse. Are you in a direct abutter?
I'm not, but have family that are.
Okay, so do you want to recuse yourself from this meeting then?
Yeah, how should we go about me rejoining them?
I think the best thing to do would just be to turn off your screen and just and you can listen to it in the background, but you just can't attend any discussion. So just mute your self and turn off your screen. Okay.
That's fine.
Well,
thanks.
Let me just comment. You certainly can participate as a member of the public.
Oh yeah, definitely. But
And so I think the idea of recusing from final votes is appropriate, but he has rights as a town citizen and member of the public.
right. So the proper procedure is to turn off your screen so you're not part of like a member voting as part of one of the members from the Conservation Commission. So that's kind of been what we've been directed to ask people that are on the board to, when they want to recuse themselves, to just turn off their screen.
That's fine. I'm okay with that. I'll just listen in the background more for when it's time to join the next one.
Okay.
All right,
Thank you.
thanks.
Yep.
All right, John, I will share my screen.
Yeah, you should have rights to do so.
Okay. All right, can everyone see it?
Yes.
All right, awesome. So this current property is it's approximately 7 acres. It was recently subdivided in May of 2022. The other property is 475 South Worcester. So let me I'll zoom in so you guys can just see the site overview. So this parcel right here is 475. And then 469 is this parcel right here. So what we are asking for and what the project entails is there's a driveway entry that will enter through 469. It will go on the existing driveway. That's 475. And then you will retreat back to the property back here. The property itself, we are trying to site, we sited the house outside the 100-foot buffer. The work that would occur inside the 100-foot buffer would be general grading and some land clearing, the installation of a well, utilities, and a driveway. The site is controlled by a couple different means. We have silt fence that will circulate around the site. We will have a controlled entry point right here for turtle protection. That same erosion control will circle around the existing driveway and come up over here, protecting the wetlands on both sides. All the work will be outside of the 25-foot no disturb zone. The property will also be marked with a couple different things. There'll be bounds that are actually installed that are required by Natural Heritage to identify the limits of what they are allowed to clear. And then secondly, inside of those limits are the standard wetland signs, posting signs. The material here was decent material. We had a 2 and a 3 minute perk rate. Water tables are relatively high. We're looking at water tables of around 36 to 48. And this is a house. The proposed house is a garage under with an art studio. Last week we did get a letter back from Natural Heritage saying that the current site would not impose any adverse effect to the habitat out there. And kind of going through as we go down the driveway, the only work that would be occurring over here is we're adding a little 2-foot wide strip. The current driveway is only 10 feet wide, so we're going to make it 12 feet wide, and some minor vegetation trim back along the edge, and then we'll have the new driveway entry point. So this point right here will receive bituminous pavement. The existing driveway is bituminous, but the proposed shoulder work will be gravels. And I quickly went through it. It's a very large site, as I can share within multiple different viewports. So I'll start with any questions from the commission.
I guess John, do you want to start with any comments, or we can go to the commission if you're all set?
I guess I can start with some comments. So, Mark, I guess you just said you got a letter from Natural Heritage.
Yes, last week.
Can you forward that over to us?
Okay, I certainly will.
All right.
I could have swore you guys were CC'd on it, but that's fine.
Oh, maybe we were. I didn't see it in my email. So,
Okay.
and second, I guess, can you zoom in on the impacts within the 25-foot buffer that you want to do?
Yes, okay. So let me go to driveway zoom. All right. So the impacts is this little edging right here. And we
Okay.
chose this side because this side was further away from the wetlands opposed to this side.
Right.
I don't have any records of the original filing. I think it occurred, I want to say pre-95.
Mm-hmm.
Does that
Do
sound about right?
Do you? Yeah, I can definitely look through other records. Do you think that the three pipes there is sufficient, or do you need to extend the driveway in either direction further?
The
So we're
three culvert pipes that are right here.
Yeah.
I believe, I mean, I don't see the necessary need to alter or change those in any way.
Mm-hmm.
They are far enough out where we're not going to be impacting or filling over them.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe, like I said, I don't have the original filing, but likely they were just put in to hydraulically connect.
Yeah,
with
it's to keep that hydraulic connection.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was just wondering if those pipes needed to be upgraded, or if the extension was going on either side further, that it would compromise those pipes. So that was one of my other questions. And you were talking about the markers that are going in.
Yeah. So
those are going to be flush with the ground. Is that the plan? The stone markers?
no, I'm proposing iron rods. They'll be easier to find in the end, and
Okay.
they'll
And
be easier to find with a metal detector.
And that's a requirement from Natural Heritage. Is that what they requested?
So they never actually requested it, but the last project I did 2
Mhm.
months ago, they did request it on that one. So I
Okay.
figured that was a similar thing that they'd be looking for here.
Okay. So I think, for the commission, I think that, we'd also want maybe a visual post at each one of these markers to kind of.
Oh, yes. So the green post is your standard post.
Okay.
The iron rod is just to locate the limit of what Natural Heritage has approved for clearing.
Mm-hmm.
We still have your post, which is probably about 3 feet off of what the actual allowable clearing is inside of that. So you're at like the 28, 29 foot setback from the wetlands. So I have approximately 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Let me go back to this. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. I have 18 posts with signs.
Yeah, and I have no issues with the delineation either. So ecosystems, I didn't want to change any of their flags when I was out there. So I guess the other question, the last one that I have is, are there any sort of, good stewardship practices the landowner wants to do with stormwater management, or are we just gonna try to how's the runoff gonna work for the new impervious that's going on here? I know it's not required for the stormwater handbook for the Massachusetts state, but under our local bylaw, because it's more than an acre, I just was wondering if you guys had any ideas.
Yep. So we incorporated a storm recharge basin here, so we'll collect all the rain meters runoff and put it into here. We have a detail associated with that, so it's stone with a chamber in it.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, it's this one. And because we did the test pits out there, we're able to put this at the correct elevation, so we maintain that minimum 2 foot of separation. We also did just a quick drainage calc on the drawdown in there in the storage based on a 25-year storm.
Right.
The other items that we are doing, that's the overall. The site is relatively flat. I mean, we are grassing this. This would be grass vegetation, so it would be able to do some sort of filtering before it makes it to the wetlands. The existing impervious, because we're so tight here, I was just going to propose the gravel shoulder right here. I mean, that's something we could change to like a 3/4 inch crushed stone as well. That would help mitigate along a large section of that. But we still have to maintain that it's Mass DOT capacity, so it would still be kind of compacted. It wouldn't be like a filter strip.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I mean, those were my main points. I think this is sufficient though for what we'd be looking for good stewardship practices on a single family house for the amount of level of disturbance that I think you've taken all the initiatives and steps to try to improve the setting for this site development. So I think this is, I'm comfortable with this. I mean, I'm going to defer to the commission if they have any other questions.
I have a couple. With regard to the driveway where it meets South Worcester Street, it looks like it's being revised there. That section.
This section will be. This is the current section right here, and that will remain. However, because that falls onto 475 South Worcester, the access wanted to be provided for this individual's house right here through this point, and it's actually an easier mode of accessing. This is a kind of a odd tight corner, but
it's very difficult to get in there with a truck, by the way, just so you know, as it currently is. So I think that access point would be a lot better.
Yeah. So better visibility, and it has the advantage. It looks like it pulls it back a little further from the wetland, but it would have to go under the common driveway regulations, I'm assuming.
Yes, we would have to file for a permit for that.
All right. And then the zone around the well, for the well installation, it looks like it's fairly flat. It's about at about the 50-foot mark from the edge of wetland. And in terms of the well installation activity itself, it has a containment area. I see. Okay.
Yes. So there is a slurry containment area. I believe I have a detail of it. Where they actually dig it down, and provide a berm around it, and then protect it with a straw wattle.
All right. So that's been addressed. All right. And any other questions among commission members? And if there are none, I think we can open it up to the general public. And even though you're not acting as a commission member, Mark, you certainly have the right to ask any questions you might have at this point. So I don't see any questions, and I think there were some outstanding issues that we have to require a continuation. We mentioned is it natural heritage, or is that?
Yeah, so Mark said that he received a letter that he's going to forward over to us.
Okay.
So I don't have any issues with that. It was more so the issues of the work within the 25-foot no disturb zone. It looks like based on what he has discussed with us that there really is not going to be much modification to the existing road. It's mostly going to be the shoulder. And he went over the the green infrastructure BMPs on the westerly side of the house that they're going to be implementing in. And that's in accordance with our local bylaw. So I think, though all those issues have been addressed, it's just we need to get that letter. And if Mark can send that over to us, the commission can deliberate and discuss this in more detail.
Sure. Yeah, I'll forward this over to you right now. I'm just pulling it up right now. So here's the filing. So in the review, obviously the key points, Wetlands Protection Act, this will not have adversely affect the actual resource area. And then NISA will not result in a prohibited take of the space. So I'll forward this on.
Thank you. And that reminds me to email them and let them know we no longer use that email address. Thank you.
No problem.
And so that sounds like we can entertain a motion to close the public hearing for DEP file number 250-1110. Just a quick review, any further discussion or questions before we go ahead with such a motion? And if not, we can consider a motion to close.
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
A motion made by Ron and seconded by?
Second.
Seconded by Tama. So again, roll call vote required, beginning with Ron and Tama.
Aye.
Mark will be abstaining, and we have Carrie, and somewhere down there I think is Dan.
Aye.
Aye.
All right, and I'll throw in an I. I might have missed somebody. Well, Mark is abstaining. That's right. So I think we got all six. All right. So the motion carries. The hearing for file number 250-1110 is closed, and we have 21 days to issue a order of conditions. And our next meeting is September 12th, so chances are it will be at that time. Our next item on the new hearings agenda is DEP file number 250-1111, notice of intent for 56 Leonard Street, and it concerns a proposed work for installation of a site clearing, ground disturbance installation of a water line, overhead underground utilities, driveway clearing, Title V septic system, and a single family home. Do we have a representative for the applicant?
Yes. My name is Mark Mariano with Oak Hill Engineering, 75 Oak Hill Ave, Seekonk, Mass. Tonight I'm representing Bruin General Contracting for a single family home within 100 feet of a bordering vegetated wetlands. What we had this property delineated in February of 2020, ANRAD approved in April of 2020. So the ANRAD and the wetland line has been verified. So the proposed work that we're providing is a single family home within 100 feet of the wetlands. We have a little bit of the septic within 100 feet of the wetlands, and we've kept the well outside the 100-foot of wetlands. So we have a little bit of utility work that will occur within 100 feet of the wetlands. The main thing on this project is because of the slopes and topography out here, there will be clearing that will occur within 100 feet up to the 25-foot buffer zone, and it'll just be reshaping the ground right here as seen on the topography. The site will be protected with erosion controls that will circulate here and outside of the 100-foot buffer. The site will also have the proposed wetland signs, which we're showing 9 shown here. We are also working on some of the stormwater treatments. So we're showing a stormwater mitigation system right here. So it's capturing the roof runoff, bringing it to a recharger, and we are also adding a stone swale right here along the edge of the driveway to kind of catch a lot of the runoff that's going to be coming off of this high embankment, and at least slowing it down and allowing it to infiltrate into the ground. The material out here is good material. It's gravel, sand and gravel. So we're looking at good infiltration rates. A couple other things to mention. We have the slurry containment around the well, and we also have a dedicated place for concrete washout. With that, does John or the commission have any questions?
I have questions. I don't know. John, maybe you want to go first?
I can go first. So, Mark, some concerns I have in the southern portion of the site. You've got the limit of work in the floodplain.
Okay, we can adjust that out, yeah.
I would adjust that out. And then secondly, the contours that you're shaping on that side slope there, they're heading towards Leonard Street. I don't know, I just have some reservations.
On this side or this side?
Southern portion. That area that's heading towards the wetlands there. That section right there. What's going to capture all the runoff from that area? Is there going to be anything that's going to, because I'm just a little concerned with that area.
Okay. You're concerned about the sheeting that's going to come from this area now?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's something we can incorporate some sort of depression to slow it down.
I take a look at it, see what we can do to kind of minimize the runoff potential and let the water kind of either infiltrate or have some sort of practice in place. But obviously, bring that limit of work outside the floodplain. I think that's definitely going to be something you're going to need to do. Otherwise, we're going to have a different discussion.
No, that seems reasonable. It's really nothing to do in the yard right there, so we can bring it back.
Okay. Those are my main concerns. I mean, I looked at this one. I mean, there's going to be extensive grading on site, but as long as you've got all the, practices in place during construction, I really don't have any major concerns with it. You've got a SWIP, you've got everything in accordance with our local bylaw. So, I think you're in good standing for those.
You all set, John?
Yeah, I'm all set. Go ahead, Julian.
So the whole upland site is, well, I guess the whole site is 3.36 acres, but you're totally clearing about 2 acres, would you say, or maybe not quite that much?
No. So the amount of clearing, this is the amount that's currently cleared.
Oh, so there are no trees in this area now. Is that correct?
In this area that I just showed, let me do this again.
Well, actually, I don't know if it matters if there are trees there or not, but when I look at the shape, the final shape, you assuming that the entire area outside of the house is grassed, that you have this rather substantial grassed dome, and you have I'm not a professional here, so I'm just speaking from how it looks to me from my experience on the commission and runoff off of a grassed surface. So you have the potential with heavy rain for an awful lot of runoff coming off this site, totally unobstructed, with any kind of swales or any kind of structures to intercept it. And you have the stone. I'm going to use the term sluiceway. It may not be a fair term, but you have that stone swell, and it comes down to Leonard Street, and it's maybe I'm misunderstanding, but does Leonard Street, it's still below the driveway, is that correct?
That is correct, yeah. So we're at elevation 85, and down here we're at 74. And
So-
you are,
So the way I see it is, in heavy rain events, I see the potential for an awful lot of water being shedded directly onto Leonard Street, which during the winter time, first of all, I don't think highway department is going to look favorably upon that, and it's going to be an incredible hazard during the winter time when it might rain and then freeze, and you have a big swath of Leonard Street. So when I looked at it, I saw the potential for a somewhat more creative grading with potential for some weirs being put in your stone swale that would potentially periodically divert some of that water off to the side into infiltration structures of some sort. And with regard to the big area between the house and, let's say, the well, you could have sort of a gentle terraces that would have the potential for little isolated landscaping areas that could be kind of private sitting areas and so on, and it would address the potential for tremendous runoff. And I don't know if that's something, and I know this is outside of the direct, what's in the Wetland Protection Act, particularly for a single family home. But I just think the way this is designed, it's going to be a problem for the future homeowner. Is there a homeowner involved with this, or is it just currently being constructed and then will be sold?
constructed and sold. So the reason we cited the house here is this is someone dug this out at some point and removed the gravel. So we cited the house on what would be, new existing ground. And where we're positioning the house, it kind of tapers off to the back here. So a lot of the runoff, it's going to be pretty much splitting the house. We go this way. And you're right, the way it's currently set up, it's going to go, runoff will go this way. What you're looking at for the slopes right here are 1 to 20. So we tried to space them out as much as possible. This is a natural feature that we're just trying to address, and these slopes I think are 1 to 5 up in this area, and then we get to 1 to 6 and 1 to 8 as we come down. And the idea of the check dams you just brought up, I think that's a good idea, and I think that's what we will incorporate to kind of slow a lot of the velocity that's coming off of this. One of the thoughts,
it's not just slowing the velocity, it's doing something to try to reduce the volume, because this is kind of like during moderate rain events, it wouldn't make a difference. But we have this increasing rate of extreme weather events, and it'll get it away from the house, but it's going to put it, on the bottom of the driveway and onto Leonard Street. And I think it's a future problem for whoever owns that property in the future that will have to be addressed. And I think this is the time, with a little bit of redesign, to make it possible for it to be, it's probably going to need work in the future anyway, with the current total contours without any interception of the flow.
so
But you understand what I'm saying about some creative terracing.
yeah, I understand the terracing. The only thing that I have thoughts on for the terracing is the future maintenance of the terrace itself, because you're looking at and I wasn't projecting that this whole area to be lawns. It would have some low ground cover or something a little bit more stable than a lawn. But it's something we could probably put in like 2 terraces somewhere, starting at 88, trying to work some of these grades back. It's just we're getting up to the existing property line here.
Yeah. Well,
And then-
it just, to me, it looks like what I would see for a ski slope, and that's, I mean, I would have concern for whoever winds up owning this property as, you know, something that could be addressed now to try to prevent massive runoff during high flow or high rain events. But you know, I don't know what we have as a commission with regard to leverage over the exact design, but you understand what I'm saying as far as concern goes.
Yes.
All right, I'm all set with that, but I think, you know, down by the street, it's the way it's designed now, it's going to be a potential hazard during the winter.
And to John's point, we can incorporate something down here, and maybe we can try to get, you know, some of this flow to come into you know, a rain garden or something in this area.
Yeah, I'd say something green infrastructure at that location would be awesome, Mark.
Yeah.
You know, and maybe tie it to the gravel kind of system that you have associated with the driveway.
Yep.
Maybe have an underpass under the driveway or something like that that's feeding into that rain garden. Obviously, you know, if it's a high monsoon, then for instance, we'll have the infiltration area, you know, right above where the floodplain is, kind of where you have the, what's that feature you have there? This is it the
This is a temporary feature. It's just
that's yeah, kind of where you have that temporary feature right there. I'd say, you know, investigate that, rehash it, look at it, see what you can do, and you know, we'll take a look at it at our next meeting.
Okay.
Questions among other members of the commission?
I have a question, which hopefully isn't too dumb, and also a comment. My question is, how do we know, or where is it noted that this is within the floodplain?
Oh, right here. So the blue line represents the AE zone.
Sorry?
Oh, are you asking? So none of the project is within the floodplain, but there's a heavy blue line right here that indicates that there's this little nub that comes out.
Okay, I see. I misunderstood. Thank you.
Okay.
Also, just for your own info, I think over the northeast part of the plan, erosion is spelled wrong.
I wouldn't put that past myself on that.
If I'm looking at the right part of the plan.
Yeah, I don't think there's a word search function in AutoCAD. Is there?
Oh, well, I don't know.
No, you found it there. It's up there.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
we
I just admit.
and those Royson controls are not to scale. So at any rate, any other questions among commission members? Go ahead.
This is Carrie.
Carrie, yes.
I just wanted to say I would echo what has already been said by John and Julian. I have kind of a newbie question. What is the concrete washout area and what is it used for?
I always put these on our plans. When the concrete truck comes to pour the foundation and the floor and the slab, you give them a dedicated place where they're not washing it into the wetlands.
Thank you.
No problem.
Thank you for putting it on the plans, Mark. I appreciate it.
Oh, if Lisa were here, he would have had to put that on the plan if it weren't there. I assure you, that detail never gets missed.
That's a standard on all of our plans, and all the surrounding towns do always ask for it.
So I'm going to open it up to anybody attending, having a question, and that includes, you know, any commission members who want to ask a question they haven't already. So I don't see hands, or you can also just take your mic off mute and ask your question. But I think this requires continuation to address some of the concerns, particularly with the end of the driveway where it meets Leonard Street, to try to minimize any chance of runoff directly onto Leonard Street. So our next meeting is September 12th. Is that an adequate time for making any changes?
Yes.
All right. And so unless there are further questions or discussion, we can consider a motion to continue this hearing until September 12th.
Mr. Chairman, this is Dan. I'll make a motion to continue DEP 250-1111 to the September 12th, 2022 meeting.
Motion made by Dan, seconded by?
Second.
I'm going to give it to Ron. I think you got it by a millisecond there. Seconded by Ron. So again, a roll call vote, beginning with Tama and Mark.
Aye. Tom, I think you're on mute.
Yeah, but I saw an aye there. Okay. All right, so we got an aye from Mark and Tama, and now Carrie and Ron.
Aye.
Aye.
And then Dan is out there somewhere.
Aye, I am,
Okay.
yes.
And I will throw in an aye, so the motion carries. So Mark, we will see you on September 12th.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next hearing is notice of intent, trial number 250-1109, concerning 120 to 116 Mansfield Avenue, and it is the site of the future new senior center, and the work will consist of demolishing existing residential structures on the property and all of the design components required for installation of a new senior center. Do we have a representative of the applicant?
Yes, you do. How are you this evening?
I am good. Go ahead, please.
Good, thank you. This is Scott Hobson from VHB in Providence, and I'm a biologist with a firm. With me tonight is Scott Lindgren. He's the civil engineering lead for the project, also from VHB in Providence. And just a couple of housekeeping things for the record before we get going. As you noted and is on your agenda, we do have a DEP file number. We have submitted the certified mail receipts or the green cards today, so the commission should have those on file. And I will share my screen and get into this for a little bit. Given your agenda, I will be brief and we'll be glad to go back and answer questions or fill in any gaps. If I could have authorization, John, if that's...
You should have authorization.
All right. If you can see that.
Yes, we can.
All right. As you've probably seen with the NOI packet, we submitted a bunch of graphics and a technical cover letter. I'm sure you all know where this is, but it's part of Norton Reservoir, and it's to the southwest portion of 140 or Mansfield Avenue. And just to jump into the plan quickly here, north is to the bottom right. A little bit confusing on this, but it's about a 7-acre parcel all told, probably just shy of 4 acres of land area. It is on Norton Reservoir, as we have mentioned. That's roughly indicated in the blue here, and I can zoom in a bit. The wetlands were field delineated by VHB, by our firm, and the fringe bordering vegetated wetlands and bank are represented by this green line. And then the 25-foot no disturbance area is in this yellow, and the 100-foot buffer zone further out in yellow. And we've mapped the 100-year floodplain or bordering land subject to flooding, and we've used the Commission's policy number 5 on that to hit that elevation at 103.65, and that is noted right here as part of the record for the plan. And as John has seen out in the field, there's also a small isolated wetland set back from the reservoir proper. We've indicated that in this light green shading, and it is too small and too shallow in extent to make isolated land subject to flooding. So it fits isolated vegetated wetland, not under the Wetlands Protection Act, but under 314 CMR 9.02. But importantly, in a way, the commission does have jurisdiction over this floodplain. There's a berm that separates this isolated wetland from Norton Reservoir. And you can kind of see it here with the floodplain represented in purple. You can see how it wraps around the berm and then comes in this area. So there's a little break in the berm here where floodwaters would come in and flood this depression. So basically the upland limit of floodplain would be right here at this purple line. The site currently hosts a single-family residence and 2 outbuildings. Those would be demolished as part of the proposed project. There's some sort of a rectangular concrete structure here that would also be demolished, and then the impervious existing driveways associated with this in gray. And then kicking over to the proposed project, we have the same color scheme here for the wetland areas. Instead of delineating the berm here for floodplain, we simply just cut it across here for description purposes. But the proposed project is just shy of 12,000 square foot footprint building, and that would be sited. You can see the former residence just under that shaded. So this would be approximately centered on the parcel. What is shown in green here are 2 proposed sanitary sewage leaching fields that would serve this new center. And very importantly, you can see the limits of disturbance here in orange. And all project activities would be upland of the commission's 25-foot no disturbance zone. And the structures proper would be outside of the 100-foot buffer zone. And I'll be very brief with stormwater. It has been peer reviewed. We've received comments. We have addressed those, and those were submitted to the commission today. There will be some plan revisions, and since we're going to the planning board next Tuesday, we're proposing to hold off on any final plan revisions until we get through the planning board and may have other comments and revisions on that plan. So the intention would be to submit back to the town one complete set that would conclude all the revisions from the commission and the planning board, if any. Stormwater wise, it's been designed in compliance with the Massachusetts Stormwater Handbook. Roof leaders will be directed to rain gardens here, and this will also I should backtrack a little bit. This tannish color is the proposed impervious surface for 2 driveways and associated parking areas. So part of this paved area would go to this rain garden. A large rain garden front, which would be vegetated, will take roof leaders also. We'll additionally take, if you can see my hand, this portion, the front portion of the parking lot, and then the large parcel over here, the lot will pitch to the left side of this plan, through a 2-foot stone diaphragm, into a grass channel, and then eventually into an infiltration basin. And this front rain garden will be able to handle the 100-year storm and fully infiltrate it, so there's no need for overflows, no concern for anything coming towards Mansfield Avenue. The back infiltration basin will have an overflow here and will evidently drain in a 10-year storm and certainly with a 100. Riprap protection to armor the slope and prevent erosion and scour has been proposed where necessary, and that occurs mostly at the inlets and outlets where designated. The whole site will be wrapped in perimeter controls. We're specifying on some of the plan details, 12-inch compost filter sock, and that's also proposed on the inside of the basins to help prevent any sloughing into the basin and onto the floor itself. That was pretty basic and pretty quick, but I'll leave it at that and open it up to further explanation or questions.
Okay, so John, I think you're up first for any comments.
Hi, Scott. How you doing?
Good, John. How are you?
Good. So,
hey, John, I should maybe head this off. I forgot to mention we did check for NHES polygons. The site is not in any polygons and not in ACEC, which is nearby but not here on this parcel. Thank you for that, John.
You're welcome. Yeah. So the stormwater basins and everything, all those components are more than 50 feet away from the wetlands. Is that correct?
I believe they are.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So we meet that threshold. And the peer reviewer has looked at this and you responded today. I haven't actually read the comments from them. I actually had some other stuff going on, so I didn't have time, but I'll take a look at them tomorrow and send them over to him.
Okay.
So that way he can take a look at that. And I guess revisions to that to the plan and everything, that's going to be handled. And the planning board, you're meeting with them on the 30th?
Correct.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So we'll try to have the peer reviewer take a look at stuff as soon as possible to get those revisions done and keep the process moving. But all in all, I think that the peer reviewer had some comments that were very well constructive, and I'm looking forward to seeing what your response was to those.
Very good. Yeah, it's my impression. Scott, correct me if I'm wrong, there were no comments that were, detrimental in any way or required significant alteration, a few tweaks here and there and further explanation.
Yeah, and John, when you see that, we provided some supplemental information that he requested, and there will be some minor plan modifications to some of his comments, but most of them were very easily addressed to respond to his information requests.
Okay. So I guess we're going to wait or potentially continue till the next meeting for this one, the September 12th.
Yeah, John, I guess you're...
I think.
Go ahead, Julian.
That was fine. So you're okay with continuing till September 12th, but I think we have to be sure there are no other comments or questions.
Yeah, my apologies. Sorry. Sorry about that. Go ahead.
Sorry, this is Tama. I have a question. Maybe it's more for you, John Thomas, but when we talk about the 100-year floodplain, is that continuing to be best practice with the way that the climate change type scenarios are happening? And I talked a little bit with some of the watershed people, and it looks like they're more future focused on their floodplains as opposed to using historical records. And I just didn't know if that was codified anywhere, or if it's just the 100-year plain is it?
I mean, as of right now, I'm bound by what the Wetland Protection Act mandates and administers. So until that changes, then that'll be kind of what we're going to go off of. But something that's hypothetical or thought about, it's not in the regulations yet. So we're still using the BLSF floodplain that they request.
Yeah, I mean, I think all of us are a little uneasy about the changes that are clearly documented. And the future may require modifying, because how is a 100-year storm defined now? Is it 7 inches in 24 hours? John, I can't recall the exact definition.
I'll leave it to the professional engineers to answer that question.
So that's correct. It says 7.4 inches over 24 hours. And climate change does have a projection of increasing that. But again, as John had indicated, right now floodplains are designated, as it stands. This site, what we look in terms of resiliency, is the impact of future flooding to a town infrastructure. And this being a town building, it's very important for us to take a look and understand exactly what the building and how climate change might impact that. And as you can note, in terms of the elevation of the building at 111, it's quite higher than perhaps future anticipated floodplains. that are going to be above that, as well as some of the infrastructure. So we do consider it a little bit, but again, the floodplain is designated as John had noted, currently under the Wetlands Protection Act.
Thank you.
Something to note here too, Tim, not really relevant to your question in terms of eventual rise or potential rise, is what you have done with the calculation of floodplain on Norton Reservoir. So we have it based on the land survey as this purple line, but we also kept the FEMA mapping line on here, and you can see what that did. So here it is over here. So you guys are above that line with what you've calculated. So in terms of Norton Reservoir, I think that gives you a little buffer too, hopefully a few years worth, but that remains to be seen.
Well, I think this climate bill is going to solve anything, isn't it? It's going to solve everything. Isn't that right?
That is
So
true.
we'll have to see. All right. I think, Dan, you had a question at one point.
It was just a curiosity thing. I don't remember seeing a plan with gabions before, and I wonder if is it unusual, or is that just a normal practice to use those to protecting some piping?
So yeah, I can answer, Julian, if you want. Dan, the gabions is a way to segment the sediment forebays. They're very good measure that we're utilizing now to, have a standard, size stone and a filtration of any of the total suspended solids. So it's just a protective measure to contain that, that first pre-treatment before the rain gardens. And they're also they're easy to replace if necessary. There's a lot of basins that use smaller stone for the forebays, and I tend to feel that it kind of washes away, and it creates more of a problem if it's not constructed properly. This is a good measure, I think, for the contractors and for long-term longevity of the forebays.
Okay, interesting.
For maintenance too, I think, Scott. So when you clean these out, you're clinking against stone. You're not digging out what would have been an earthen berm. For a smaller correct. Stone forebay. It defines it as well.
Right. So if there are no further questions among commission members, anyone in the audience can ask a question. And if there are none, we will consider a motion for continuation.
Julian, this is Steve. And I'm at 22 Freeman Street. I back right up to the reservoir.
Yeah, and you cut out a little bit. If you could just repeat your name and address.
Okay. My name is Stephen Shaw. I'm at 122 Freeman Street. And I met Scott briefly when he was in back of the property tagging some boundaries and so forth.
Yes. Hi, Stephen.
Hi, how are you?
Good, thanks.
Just a couple questions. The infiltration basin, is that taking parking lot runoff?
It is.
Okay. And what happens to when it goes over the overflow weir? Where does the water flow from there?
The water flows over the weir and would flow in the vegetated area between the 50-foot and 25-foot zones, and then towards the reservoir.
Okay, so is that
directly to the south?
Is that vegetative area what's already there naturally, or is something going to be planted in there to expand it?
Whatever's in the 25, Steve, would remain.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, I was just concerned because there's a lot of like waterfowl activity back there, especially in the spring and late fall. There's a lot of migratory birds that come through.
Right.
And yeah, I was just concerned about the additional pollution running off from the parking lots.
Yeah, Steve, to kind of outline the treatment train and the requirements under the stormwater management regulations have us treating having a 44% pre-treatment before the infiltration basin, and then the infiltration basin alone is an additional 80% treatment for those total suspended solids, and the infiltration practice will actually allow the infiltration of any of the other contaminants that might be in runoff, whether that be phosphorus or others, would be able to be treated through the soil medium, either in the bioretention areas in the rain gardens or through the infiltration basin. So I think before the discharge, and those discharges really only happen in the very large storm events, and that the lower storm events will completely treat that first parking lot runoff that has the most contaminants in it, and that's part of the design.
So the percentage of time that this would overflow is very low. Is that correct?
Yes, we're talking, in above a 10-year storm, a volume in terms of it really is a very small amount of water. We do definitely have a large infiltration point here, so it's in between the extent of the larger storm events and time, and then also the volume reduction going to the Norton Reservoir directly from runoff. We've got a reduction almost half of what was going to the reservoir is being infiltrated now. And that's very important to the groundwater resource, to the reservoir, but also provides a lesser degree of direct runoff that would have those contaminants going to the surface water body. So that's a very important part of the design.
So it would overflow somewhere between a 10-year and a 25-year storm.
You would start, yeah, and I can quickly get some numbers if you're interested in that in a little bit more in detail, but yes, you are correct.
Yeah, I just wanted to emphasize that it would not be a common event that these infiltration basins would overflow.
That's correct. It would not be a normal flow. Most of the infiltration would take on the smaller storms that you normally see on like a day to day. If it was raining in Norton, it was raining in Providence, but it was a day like today, you wouldn't see that overflow.
Yeah, it's not going to happen this summer, it doesn't seem like, except for a day like today, right?
Yeah.
And Steve, to your point again, the vegetation on that slope would remain, so the dense grasses and shrubs that were in there. I know you had some Carex stricta in that fringe, which will help to kind of disseminate that as well.
Right.
And I'm a huge waterfowl guy, and I don't see any negative effect to the reservoir or to the holding over waterfowl in that area.
Okay.
Flow-wise or contaminant-wise, either to their ability to be in there or for their food sources.
Okay.
So pretty inconsequential, I think.
Okay. I have one other question for the commission. Just a local thing. What's to prevent this facility with the new parking lot providing access to people that want to bring their small boats in to go fishing down in that corner adjacent to the infiltration basin? Is that going to be too difficult for them to navigate to get through there? Or is that going to create a new opportunity for people to park there and launch their kayaks and bass boats, similar to what's happening next door to Jasmine Garden on the other side?
We're still in conversations internally at town with the water access plan that we had SNEEP do for us. So it's part of this site is one of the areas to look at, but it's still in the preliminary stages. We're still looking at potential access points along the reservoir for the public to use for recreational purposes. It's something that's on our list to do, and once we have a plan of action, we'll definitely provide the public notice of those access and entry points.
Because that corner back, it's literally right in my backyard, so to speak, but it's right there.
Steve, I'm not sure you could successfully launch in there without a lot of, you need some waders. That's pretty mucky in that end.
Yeah, it does get.
I think any launching would be more at the point up here where you have a good defined bank and a little bit more water depth in this area.
Yeah.
But this gets really shallow. You might even get stuck in here if you try to launch a kayak or a canoe, at least from what I've seen when I was out there.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right about what the environment's like there. I was just curious.
This is, just for clarity, this is one of the sublagoons. This is not access to the main body of the Norton Reservoir. And during the summer, it has become increasingly socked in with weeds. So it's not a terribly appealing area, even to kayak in. So I think the likelihood that it would attract people wanting to get access to that part of the reservoir is relatively low.
People that get access to that area now, unless they live on the water, it's from the end of Smith Street. They park at the end of Smith Street, right on 140, and put their small boats right in there.
Well, all direct abutters to the Norton Reservoir and Lake Winnicott should be notified of the upcoming treatment for the ponds that are scheduled for August 29th. So you should be receiving those notices tomorrow or the next day if you're a direct abutter. If you don't, please let me know.
All right, any further questions concerning this project? It needs additional information, so we will be continuing until September 12th, I believe.
John, you would need to review that our response to the peer review.
Yeah.
Before this hearing could be closed.
Well, yeah, I'd have to take a look at that, and then he's going to have to take a look at the. I have to look at that and then look at the responses, and see how they line up. Typically, what I like to see in the peer review is saying that this is complete, this standard 1 is complete, standard 2 is complete, standard 3 is complete. That way, I know everything's complete, and the peer reviewers are comfortable with everything. And then any sort of plan changes that need to get made, those plan changes have a final plan. That plan gets submitted to the commission, and then I'm hoping by the next meeting we'll be able to close this meeting and then potentially issue an order of conditions too. Okay.
Yep. Very good.
All right. If there are no further questions or comments, we can consider a motion to continue until September 12th.
So moved.
You have a motion for continuation of file number 250-1109 until September 12th, made by Ron. Any second?
Second.
I think Dan got the second. So we'll do a roll call vote as is required, beginning with Tama and Carrie.
Aye.
Aye.
Mark and Ron.
Aye.
Aye.
And Dan.
Aye.
And I'll throw in an aye. The motion carries. So we'll see at least one of you guys next time.
Sounds good. Thank you very much.
Good.
Appreciate it.
Thank you all.
Have a good night.
Aye.
Our next item is determination number 1127, request for determination of applicability for 16 Young Avenue. It's a proposed plan to add an addition to an existing family house. Do we have a representative of the project?
Yes, hello, this is Craig Siganowski. Excuse me, Rim Engineering, representing the owners, Joshua Nolan, who was also online tonight.
Craig, you're all set with screen sharing capabilities.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so this project is just a small house addition to the existing single family one-story house, a one-story addition, 252 square feet. It's located on the westerly side of the existing house, in the existing lawn area. The resource area was actually flagged by John Thomas for the client. We located that, as well as there's a across the street is a portion of the Norton Reservoir. It cuts through a stream under the Young Avenue, comes around to the south, the east and the south of this property. We located the bank in several areas and plotted the 200-foot riparian. It's outside of the lot on the east side. It cuts in more or less through the 25-foot buffer zone from the BBW to the south. So none of the work is within the riverfront area. The existing addition, the proposed addition, does not include the removal of any trees. The 2 sheds were existing prior to the purchase of the property by Joshua Nolan, and the existing tree line pretty much runs as shown from the east side along to the BBW 25-foot, and behind the furthest south shed, and then to the west side of the second shed closest to the house is an overgrown garden area. So that vegetation.
Craig, if you could just if you could just blow up the plan a little bit to.
Sure. So these are the 2 sheds pre-existing to the purchase of the property by my client. This area here, there's an existing fence that is the limit of I think it's a garden. It was a bit overgrown the last time I was out there. The tree line runs through here along the east side to the south, along the sheds, and then all the land to the west side is existing vegetation, a wooded area that's going to remain as it is. So the access is directly off the existing paved driveway. Siltation control at the back of the house, about 8 feet behind the proposed addition, enough room to dig the footings for the addition. So it is an existing lawn area, and when they're done, they'll just regrade it as it currently is.
All right.
Commission has any questions?
John, do you have any comments? I mean, it looks fairly straightforward.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't have any main comments. Obviously, my typical roof runoff attenuation. Are you going to do downspouts? Or are you going to do dry wells? What were you thinking about doing, Craig?
Well, we could put a dry well in.
Okay.
Off the roof water.
Okay.
Any other questions? And anyone in the audience have any questions about this project? So this is a request for determination. It looks like we have enough information to close, and for that matter, enough information to issue a negative determination, assuming the project is carried out according to plan. So unless there are further questions, we can proceed with a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
And we have a motion made to close the public hearing for file number, determination number 1127, made by Ron, and seconded by? Seconded by Mark. So again, roll call vote, beginning with Mark and Tama.
Aye.
And then we have Ron and Carrie.
Aye.
And Dan.
Aye.
And I'll throw in an aye. So the motion carries. If someone wants to offer a quick motion to for a negative determination, we can do that now, or we can save it for later in the meeting.
So moved.
We have a motion made by Ron for a -3, stating that filing a regular notice will not be required, assuming the project is carried out according to plan, and it is seconded by?
Second.
Seconded by Tama. So again, roll call vote, beginning with Ron and Mark,
Aye.
Aye.
and Tama and Carrie,
Aye.
Aye.
and Dan,
Aye.
and I'll throw in an aye as well. So the motion carries. It's a negative determination. So that gets issued in a couple of days, or is there an appeal period with a negative determination?
We can have that in a couple days.
All right. So our next item on the agenda, thank you, Craig. Our next item on the agenda is an NRAD. There is not a file number as yet for 0 South Washington Street, and but they have apparently requested a continuance until September 12th.
That's correct.
So moved.
We have a motion made by Dan for continuing this NRAD until September 12th, and seconded by Tama. So roll call vote, beginning with Ron and Mark.
Aye.
Aye.
Tama and Carrie.
Aye.
Aye.
And Dan.
Aye.
And I'll throw in an aye. So this NRAD is continued until September 12th. We have, we're now on our list of continued public hearings, something we've seen many times before, 0 Eddy Street, file number 250-1070. And I read an email, I believe today, that they too had requested a continuance.
They have.
All right. And was that you, Dan, who made that motion? It sounded like it.
It was indeed, yes.
All right. And so motion for continuance of file number 250-1070 by Dan, and seconded by?
Second.
Seconded by Ron. Again, roll call vote, starting with Ron and Mark,
Aye.
Aye.
and Tama and Carrie,
Aye.
and Dan,
Aye.
and I'll throw in an aye. So that motion carries. Our next continued public hearing, file number 250-1093, notice of intent for 70 Oak Street, has had a request, entered a request for continuance until September 26th.
So moved.
Motion made by Dan,
Second.
seconded by Ron. So again, roll call vote, beginning with Ron and Mark,
Aye.
Aye.
and Tama and Carrie,
Aye.
Aye.
and Dan,
Aye.
and I'll throw in an aye. So motion carries for continuance of file number 250-1093, notice of intent for 70 Oak Street. Our next item is 0 Hill Street. This is file number 250-1108, concerning construction of a single-story, nearly 10,000 square foot machine and fabricating facility. That was continued from July 25th. And do we have a representative for that project?
I'm here, Mr. Chairman. My name is Michael Dryden. I'm a senior project manager with Allen Engineering. And I just wanted to take an opportunity this evening, Mr. Chairman, to seek some clarification on comments that we received. Just to backtrack a little bit, the last meeting on August 8th, I did receive some comments from the commission members. Those are so noted, and we've already made those changes to the plans. We just today received comments from the commission's peer reviewer. We do appreciate the peer reviewer getting this done relatively quickly. At first, we thought it was going to take up to 4 weeks, so we do appreciate their efforts. However, just receiving those comments today, we certainly didn't have time to fully react to them. But I did take some time to just go through the comments, and I noted, I believe, 4 or 5 of the comments that I would like to get a little input from the commission before we officially respond to those comments in writing. So if I could just walk you through a few of the comments that I would like your input on, Mr. Chairman, I would appreciate that opportunity.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, on page 4 of the letter, by the way, the letter is dated August 18th. on page 4, just about midway down, there is a reference to NPDES, and I understand that your local bylaw requires that prior as part of the filing, essentially. I just wanted to bring this to the attention of the commission that we are keeping the site below 1 acre of disturbance. So that is my understanding that won't apply. Well, certainly the NIPID's permit and the Stormwater Pollution Prevention Plan doesn't apply. But a related comment that I'll get to in a moment is under the local stormwater bylaw, which is also triggered by 1 acre or more disturbance. So we're just under that. We consciously designed the site to be under that. So I just wanted the commission to be aware of that one. On page 6 of the comment letter, there's a reference to test pits, and as you will recall, we initially had an open stormwater basin and a single subsurface storage system. And based on John Thomas's initial guidance, we have revised the drainage, and that did entail sliding some of the drainage away from the resource areas. So the peer reviewer notes that the testing isn't exactly located under the current location of the stormwater BMPs. We touched on this briefly at the last meeting. What we would propose is certainly not opposed to doing some confirmatory testing, but we would ask the commission to defer that to construction as a condition, just so we don't have to mobilize, go back out there and dig additional test pits. And I would request that, especially in this case where we have really good drainage sand and gravel, so we wouldn't expect the groundwater elevation to vary much across the site. So I wanted to seek a little guidance on that item before we, again, started to formally respond to the comments. And I can move on to the next item unless you want to respond to that one, Mr. Chairman.
I'm going to defer. Yeah,
we don't have this letter.
Whatever your preference is.
It came through, I think, today in electronic form to us.
Okay.
So
I lost you there for a minute. Now you're back.
Yeah, I reviewed it briefly, and I'm assuming you can fix his copy to put those pages that were sent upside down. He was kind of irritated about that, but that's just not really an issue.
I don't blame him for being irritated. We will certainly fix that.
But with regard, so John, how far off were the test pits from the proposed infiltration system? It was fairly close. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, I think they were within a stone's throw of where the original kind of design was. I think they pulled it back, Mike, what did you say, 25 feet or so from where it was? Or does that sound?
A little bit more, but the testing was sort of located in the middle previously, so
right.
We're still pretty close. And again, we're not opposed to doing additional testing. One, I don't really think it's necessary, but two, if the commission would like us to, we just think it would make sense to do it during construction so we don't have to go back out there with the backhoe.
I mean, you have the testing for the stormwater areas and also the septic design, and those are the majority of the central portion of the site. So, you know, I think it could be conditioned if the commission's okay with it. I just, you know, it's the peer reviewer, you know, obviously it's something that he's going to comment on because he doesn't have the hard data. But at this point, you know, I think it's potentially a condition that we could request to move this project along.
Certainly appreciate that. And of course, we will provide the test pits. We typically have them in the drainage report. I'm not sure why they were omitted, but we do have the test pit logs, and as part of the responses, we'll provide those to the peer reviewer.
And I apologize to the commission. That peer review letter is now in the main folder. You should be able to see it. It was outside that folder, so I apologize for that.
So I just want to make sure the commission generally okay with not performing additional test pits now.
Yes, I think that's that we can condition it at the time that the project is installed. If the infiltration facility is installed, I think that would be fine with me. And the first item, I was curious, was your original design slightly more than an acre? That may be why. I'm not sure if John had the original plan and was looking at that without realizing that it was slightly more.
I think that's what it was. The original design was an acre, more close to an acre, and I think they scaled it back a little bit. So I think that's where the miscommunication was.
Yeah, so that issue I think is moot at this point.
Yeah.
As well.
Great. Okay. Let's see. Just moving on. I know you have a long agenda. I'll be very quick. On page 8. Oh, this is sort of just redundant. Yeah, that's the stormwater management bylaw that I referenced. On page 9 of the report, there's a request. Where is it, please? Excuse me. Page 8. There's a habitat evaluation reference on page 8. So just a little bit of background here. The peer reviewer looked at Mass GIS and does confirm that we're in an ACEC, which we did acknowledge in our application. And there is, what we did as part of that revision 1, we pulled all of the stormwater BMPs outside of the 100-foot buffer zone to the vernal pool, or in quotes, the habitat area. And the question here is, he's asking the commission if we should conduct a habitat evaluation. And the reason he says that is it's mentioned in one of the tables in the Massachusetts Stormwater Handbook to demonstrate through a habitat evaluation that the stormwater BMPs are not causing an adverse effect to the vernal pool. And I would suggest to the commission in this case, as you know, now we have all of our stormwater that's being infiltrated. All of our detention and infiltration is in 2 subsurface systems. The only stormwater BMP that's at the edge of the 100-foot area is a riprap emergency overflow that would occur only in larger storm events. So I would respectfully request or suggest to the commission that a habitat evaluation is overkill in this particular case. But again, I just wanted to seek your input on that item.
So, John, do you have a comment on that? Because I kind of do too.
I'll let you go first, Julian. Go ahead.
Well, I mean, I mean, we know John well. He is very careful, and he's very dedicated to being academically correct. So, but I certainly understand your point that the stormwater is being very well controlled, and the likelihood that a habitat evaluation would show anything concerning is, in my sense, in my mind, very low. So I would be happy with not requiring that myself.
And I will add to that it appears that the construction and proposal of this potential facility would not be within any sort of, or propose any impacts within any sort of, resource areas that are protected under the Wetlands Protection Act for vernal pools. So therefore, I don't have any concerns with a wildlife habitat study being done for this.
Does that address your concern?
It does. I just wanted to again make sure that was a general consensus of the commission. I think I heard that was the case, and I appreciate that. And I think at this time, all the other comments are very technical. They're relative to stormwater. We're very confident we can address each and every one of them. I assume the commission prefers to have written responses to the comments, so we will work on that immediately and turn that around back to the commission and your peer review consultant. Hopefully, we can up for the next.
All right. Unless there are further comments, discussion, questions, I think we can consider a motion for continuation. Our next meeting is September 12th. I see a screen labeled Dr. Palermo's.
He's for the next project.
Next one, okay. All right.
Excuse me.
Oh, sorry.
Hi, this is Netta Woods. I live on Hill Street.
All right, go ahead.
I have a question. Why does this building have to have access to Hill Street? Why can't it go through the Commerce Center over on the other side, have their entrance over there? Hill Street has so many trucks. I've almost gotten killed coming out of my driveway. I don't know how many times. This is going to bring so much more people coming up and down the street. And this is a residential area. We already have waste management here. We got the water treatment plant. We've got the firing range. Why do we need to have this right here on our street?
Miss
I don't
Woods,
understand it. I don't understand it.
For the record, can you state your full name and your address?
Yes, it's Aquanetta Woods, and I live at 55 Hill Street.
Thank you.
Would you like me to address some of the concerns, Mr. Chairman?
Yeah, I think you know I think the details of that answer better.
Sure. So first of all, access through the Commerce Park, that's not possible because the applicant doesn't control land in that park. So we can't make a connection through another private development to connect to their roadway. We just simply don't have the ability to do that. The lot that we're looking at has legal frontage on Hill Street, and it is industrially zoned. And I certainly understand the comment that it's a residential area, but that only applies to the west side of Hill Street, which isn't residentially zoned. The entire east side of Hill Street is industrially zoned. So this essentially is a by right use in the industrial zone. And
I'm sorry, I can't hear you right now.
Just to address the traffic concerns, obviously that's not a matter for the commission, it's more for the planning board, but I just to hopefully put her mind at ease. We're proposing 12 parking spaces, which is more than the owner will need. This is a very low traffic generator. We're not talking about a large building. It's under 10,000 square feet. So the traffic generation is minimal. I hope that addresses the concerns.
I'm just not happy with having this going across the street from me. There's just so much, there's so many other things going on here on Hill Street that now have this, be brought to us.
So Miss Woods,
It's very disheartening.
The planning board is meeting August 30th.
Yes, I will be there.
Okay, and you can address all your concerns with traffic generation and whatever sort of concern you have with the development at that meeting. We're strictly focusing on environmental setbacks and regulatory environmental things with this project.
Well, I thought there was a lot of wetland across there.
There is.
Well, just to emphasize that the project actually, I mean, it's been set back from more than 100 foot almost everywhere. Is that correct? I mean, that's
right.
Direct plan.
So the project has been positioned in a way to have the most minimal impacts to the resource areas and the vernal pools that are within those resource areas. And in accordance with the Wetlands Protection Act, they're doing it to the extent most practicable. Therefore, this project is meeting all the requirements to serve the interests of the applicant.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any further comments or questions? And I think we were, if not, ready for a motion for continuance of this hearing until September 12th.
So moved.
We have a motion made by Dan Pearson for continuation and seconded by?
Second.
I'm beaten.
I don't know. We're going to make the second be Mark. All right. So, because I think that you got it in there just a tiny bit. So, again, roll call vote starting with Mark and Tom.
Aye.
Aye.
And Carrie and Ron.
Aye.
Thank you for your time.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
Dan, I'm assuming you're throwing in a positive vote, and I'll throw in a positive.
Aye.
This hearing is continued until September 12th. We have Item D is file number 250-1105, notice of intent, Pine Street Cluster. They have requested a continuance until September 12th as well.
So moved.
Motion made by Dan, seconded by?
Second.
Seconded by Tama. So again, roll call vote, starting with Mark and Tama.
Aye.
Aye.
And Carrie and Ron.
Aye.
Aye.
And Dan.
Aye.
And I'll throw in an aye. So file number 250-1105 is continued until September 12th. So our next item is certificate of compliance for file number 250-1062 concerning Wheaton College. And refresh my memory. We had one that involved an extension of a sewer line, but that was, I thought we put that to rest.
That is a completely different project.
Okay. All right. So you're representing this. If you can just refresh my memory as to exactly what was done.
My name is Craig Kilburn. I'm with Wheaton College. I'm here with Rob Palermo. He's engineer on site for this. So what we've done is behind the Haas Center athletic facility, we basically refreshed. There's a walkway behind there that was in really rough shape. It was determined that it was the purpose for it being installed in the first place was to allow emergency access. And it was so in rough shape that you couldn't get an ambulance back there without it sinking in the mud.
You guys both have screen sharing capabilities to show a plan if you want to.
Rob, you want that?
Yeah, let me see if I can't bring it
If not, I'll do it for you guys. Just let me know.
Yeah, let me see if I can't bring it up there. Basic files.
So for those that, while we're waiting, a little fun fact about this project, we were about a minute and a half from being at this point a year ago. We had our 3 mows in, we had everything good to go, and the back part of the building decided it wanted to pull away. So basically the facade of the building had to be completely redone, which had a negative impact on us, all this work that we had done, so we had to do it over again.
I don't know if you can all see this map here. Did that come up?
Yes, it did.
Okay, so basically this is the permit plan that Craig was talking about. Well, let me just scroll up a little bit here. So you can see the Haas Athletic Center, and that blue line, which kind of runs around the building, is the area where the asphalt walkway was improved. It was cracking, it was damaged, it really wasn't in good shape. So the work scope included repairing that, putting in a new asphalt cover on it, and putting in a plastic geotextile grid on each side of the walkway just to help with erosion control, and then putting some crushed stone around each side of the walkway. And it's detailed a little bit better here. You can see the brown dotted white line. That's the asphalted area that was repaired. And you can see the various zones here, the 100-year buffer zone, the dotted blue line, and 25-foot no disturb zone in the blue line, and the wetland boundary in the green line. The work was, completed pretty much exactly as shown here on the plan and in conformance with the order of conditions. I have some photographs I can show you of what it actually looks like now. So you can see the asphalted walkway here that's been approved here. That's by the entrance to the parking lot. And you can see the crushed stone basically on both sides here. On the south face of the building, this is a long walkway in the back. And you can see the asphalt cover, the new cover that was put down, the crushed stone on each side of it. What you can't see is the geogrid, which is underneath the crushed stone. And again, that was there just to kind of like stabilize the sides of this a little bit better. The the site is reasonably flat. It kind of drains sufficiently to the south and to the southwest, and that kind of like, I guess, shows you the way it looks right now. Craig and I were out there on July 12th to do a walkover to confirm that everything was completed as it was supposed to, and you can see what it looks like now. It's pretty much what we expected to get out of it and what we hope to get out of it. Go back to the plan here. So we would like a certificate of compliance. I mean, the work's been done, and we'd like to close it out.
All right. So, key question to John: are you happy with it? With all of it?
Stabilization is complete. I'm happy.
All right. So, I think we can consider a motion for we're going for a full certificate of compliance. I'm assuming.
Yes.
For file number 250-1062. So, someone wants to make that motion?
So moved.
So we had a motion made by Dan and Ron. Was that a second?
Yes.
Okay, seconded by Ron for full certificate of compliance for file number 250-1062. So again, roll call vote starting with Tama and Mark.
Aye.
And Ron and Carrie.
Aye.
And Dan?
Aye.
And I'll throw in an aye. So that motion carries. And we have a request for an extension. Also, file number 250-1016, Wheaton College, with regard to the repair of a wall around Peacock Pond. And so do you guys have any comments on where that project is?
Yep, I have a map shown up here, the overview plan, and it's this wall on the right. The work was completed, but we would like to get an extension because some of the mortar that was used in the mix, for whatever reasons, didn't cure or take correctly. So Craig and I have been brainstorming a little bit as to what we can do to kind of improve it. And that is the reason why we'd like some more time to complete the work that the way it was intended. I think the contractor did masonry work according to what he thought should be done. But if you take a look at it, you can see that some of the mortar needs some work and needs some improvement. And that's the basis for us asking for some more time. Craig, you want to add anything to that?
Just that it's in pretty rough shape. We're trying to make some temporary repairs before the winter hits, and then in the spring probably try and do something a little bit more permanent, which is again the reason for the extension. Our current goal is to follow the exact order of conditions that we had in the first place. All the protections would be the same. Just it's all about the timing now.
So, John, I'm assuming this is fairly non-controversial, and a year or 2 years? What kind of extension are we looking for?
I mean, I had put in a request for 3 years because I envisioned probably in the spring reaching out, having this thing completely re-engineered. But I will accept whatever the commission chooses. 1 year is fine with me at the moment.
John, any comment?
Yeah, I mean, they can ask for an extension and then, obviously extend it again if they need more time. We can do a 1 year, we could do a 2 year, we could do a 3 year. It's up to kind of what the commission wants. But, if you are going to be, looking at potential reconfiguration, whether that's minor or major change, we'd have to take a look at that, whether amended order is going to be needed. So I'd say we go with a 1 year extension for now. And if they can do it with the same design and everything, then that's good. If they need to come back, then they'll come back.
Agreed. Thank you.
All right. I'm looking for a motion then.
I'll make a motion to extend file 250-1016 for 1 year, as suggested by our conservation director.
All right, motion made by Dan, and I think Ron, you had your mic.
Yes.
That's a second? Okay. All right, so again, a roll call vote for a motion for extension for 1 year, starting with Mark and Tama.
Aye.
Aye.
And Ron and Carrie.
Aye.
Aye.
And Dan?
Aye.
And I'll throw in an aye. So thank you, guys.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Our next item is draft minutes of August 8th. And we had a full board on that meeting. I didn't see anything that stood out. Anyone have any comments about that?
I had one. Oh, okay.
Yeah, go ahead, Tama.
It was under C, file number 250-1108, whatever. It's 0 Hill Street. The fourth sentence from the end is just like a fragment. It's not like, doesn't really, I mean, it kind of describes a person, but doesn't really explain anything else.
Okay, I'll fix that.
Thanks.
Am I still on?
Yes, you are.
Just two very small things. One is page 4, the very top line. This might have even been what Tama was talking about, but Michael mentions that blank got rid of the open basin. That's also on 1108, top of page 4. I don't know if I have different pages, but
No, that's there, yeah.
and so maybe it should be he or whatever or someone.
Yeah, I'll fix that.
Oh, actually, I think that refers to that's it. Brings up revised plans, mentions the size of the building, and the building program has not changed on the revised plans. Like mentions that got rid of the open. Well, I don't know. It's a little confusing, but it sounds like there were revised plans that resulted in those changes described. Is that kind of the sense other people got?
So what happened was I instructed Mike Dryden to revise the plans to pull the basins out of the 100-foot vernal pool buffer. And that's what he did, was he pulled those basins out of the vernal pool buffer.
Okay, so then we want, Michael mentions that he got rid of the open basin.
Sure.
One more minor thing. Let's see. This is page 6, and it's above the box at the bottom of the page. It's effectively the last sentence of the paragraph above that box. The sentence reads, John confirms that based on the notes on the plans and the plans provided, that he is comfortable that it is clear what blank is voting on. So I assume that's the commission, but anyway.
It might be that the word being, as in it is clear what is being voted on. Oh, it's voting on. Okay, that doesn't work.
Yeah, I'll read through that one again. The issue with Hill Street was when that one was going on, his mic kept going in and out a lot. So I was trying to listen a lot. Very difficult.
That's probably an accurate transcription of what he said actually said to the meeting. Anyway, trying to make a joke. Right.
All right. So we can consider a motion to accept the minutes as modified.
Yeah, I'll make that motion.
All right. Motion made by Dan and seconded by?
Second.
Seconded by Mark.
Gotcha, Ron.
Accept the minutes as modified for Monday, August 8th, and again, roll call vote, starting with Tama and Carrie,
Aye.
and Ron and Mark,
Aye.
Aye.
and Dan, and I'll throw in an
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. So we're up to new and old business. Any comments from John?
A lot of stuff going on, a lot of projects coming in. So,
Well, the biggest thing is it rained today.
yeah, that's great news.
That's at least I don't have to water my garden for another
And it's
few.
supposed to rain tomorrow, too.
Excellent. So I see with Fall Town meeting being October 17th, we only have one meeting scheduled for October. Is that how come that is?
So the plan was to, Megan, chime in here on me, is that the plan was to have it the week after October 17th. Was that correct?
Yeah, so originally there was always only one meeting in October because of Columbus Day. So it was going to be the 17th, but then town meeting came in, so now it's the, I think, 24th.
Okay, so we have almost a month then between meetings. So we'll have to deal with that if we have.
Unless the commission wants to make a meeting before that 17th meeting, we can do that too. I mean, we have the option.
Well,
So
we
that
still, yeah, we still have time to hash that out.
We could also make a meeting after the 12th, so couldn't we? So there's no reason to settle on a meeting now, is there?
Yeah, I hesitate to have such a long time. First, we run up against potential legal problems because we supposedly have to act on an application within 21 days, and the same as we have to issue orders of conditions within 21 days. But the other concern is I don't want to have a 3-hour meeting because we haven't met.
Yeah, we can call for a special meeting any date that works to the commission. It's just I need to be able to post it. So,
well, let me look at
I can float some dates around for the commission members.
well, let me just bring up calendar here, see what we've got.
Well, it can't be the 3rd of October because it would be too soon after the September meeting. And it can't be the 10th because of Columbus Day. So it probably couldn't be a Monday.
I don't know. I mean, the 11th is Tuesday. Is that even possible for people? So,
Yeah, we can switch it. We can switch it. We can even switch the meeting to the 18th on a Tuesday.
well, but then it's only a week between then and the 24th of October. So I think the 11th would probably be the best compromise if that is workable.
So do you want to try to have 2 meetings?
So
in
you
October?
guys can just. Yeah, well, that's the problem, because if we go from September 26th to October 24th, we have more than the 21-day time frame. And I mean, nobody's ever called us on it, but the law states that we're obligated to act within 21 days in terms of either having a hearing or issuing orders of conditions. That's the only concern. So I would suggest that we explore the possibility of October 11th as a meeting date.
I'm okay with the 11th. I can make that date work.
Fine with me.
Me too. Yeah, it's okay with me too.
All right. So, John,
Fine with me.
yeah, so John and Megan, why don't you just confirm that that's operationally possible? I mean, it shouldn't be through Zoom. It shouldn't be a problem. We don't have to resume.
So that 11th is a Tuesday. That works for everybody? Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
Anything else to discuss there?
We
in the site inspections report from staff. Anything?
We have another project coming through the door that's going to be a limited project, residential, so that's going to be coming up next. I've already addressed some potential concerns to the applicant to address before it comes in front of the commission, so I'm just waiting for them to get a complete package to us. But that's really all I have much to report on that for the commission.
Well, are you and your wife getting adequate sleep, considering your new member?
6 weeks old, having slight regression, 2 hours sleep every night, so it's great. You know, on and off, on and off, on and off. Yeah.
Okay.
That's why they make him cute.
Yeah, that's right. That's why they make him cute and adorable. He's on his own schedule, and I'm just having to live by it. That's kind of what it is right now. I'm sure he's awake right now.
All right. So unless there are further items, I'm ready to sign off.
Need a motion?
Want a
I move
motion?
that we adjourn the
Make a
meeting.
motion.
Okay. I think enough people made motions that we can adjourn. All right. Good night, guys.
Thank you.
Night, everybody.
Good night.